All right, it is 6 o'clock. We're going to go ahead and get started. I'd like to welcome everybody here that is in person and also online. Thanks for joining us. Today is February 17th, Tuesday, and we will get started with the Pledge of Allegiance. That's offered by T.
Repeat after me.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Go USA.
Great, thanks, T. Next on our agenda is the conflict of interest. And if anybody on the council tonight has any conflict with any of our agenda items, now would be the time to make that known.
Dan, voting none. Teague Sorensen, none.
Got it.
Christina? Okay, thank you. Next, we'll open it up for public comment. We're going to do this one a little bit different now that we have the online option. If anybody is watching online and would like to make a comment, please drop that in the chat box and we will watch for it. I'll break and ask anybody here in the audience if they want to, and then at the end we'll come back and see if there are any chats. And just like when you're in person, you need to state your name and your address, so we have that for record as well. All right, anybody in person want to give a public comment? Okay, not seeing anybody in public. In the audience here, is anybody online? Make a comment. I know it hasn't been a very long amount of time to type, so I'll look back up here in a second. We can revisit if we need to. All right, next on the agenda is the consent agenda. Has everyone had a chance to look those over? Yep.
Yes.
And thank you guys for taking care of the last meeting when I was out of town. I did watch it online. You guys are in great hands and did a great job, so thank you for that, Michelle. All right, we'll entertain a motion then.
I'll make a motion that we approve the consent agenda for the meeting minutes of February 3rd, the invoices and financial reports for January 2026.
Thanks for a motion by Michelle,
I'll second the motion.
second by T. Thank you. Any discussion on that motion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Motion passes. Do we need a roll call?
Yes.
Invoices?
Yeah.
Okay. Do a roll call. Dan?
Dan Colby, yes.
T?
Teague Sorensen, yes.
Michelle?
Yep.
I say yes. Thank you. All right. Next on the list is the presentation on IT services, the Internet Fiber Keystone Solutions, and our presenter is Scott, right?
Oh, Scott.
I think is Shane White here with you as well?
He is not.
He's not. Okay.
Thank you for your time, first of all. My name is Scott Matheson with Keystone Solutions. We're a local ISP, so we provide internet services and fiber services to different rural areas, apartment complexes in different cities and things like that. We have a unique opportunity where the state of Utah received a bunch of money in the order of like $317 million to put fiber infrastructure across several cities and rural areas and things like that. So we have an opportunity here for the Uintah, which falls in that the guidelines for being rural, I should say, and being able to receive some funds and finding a partnership that would work well, where Keystone Solutions would provide up to 25 to 50% of the expense to install fiber optic in the city of Uintah. So right now the opportunity is there for this BEAD money, which comes from federal funds. And I given a couple people this little worksheet on what it would cost. So the total project cost would be right at anywhere between $1.5 and $3 million, and has I think some good opportunity to provide stability and bandwidth, and which offers a lot of opportunities to the city for telehealth and other people commuting and doing work from home. And so there's also this money that is available to be able to do this. So we were we kind of got involved with this a couple of years ago, but this is the first one where now these federal funds are becoming more and more available. So my business partner, Shane, who lives in Uintah, we were talking about, like I said, we haven't talked to the city and see if there's some opportunity for us to do that. There's other groups that are doing it, like in South Weaver and in Ogden and down in Westmore and stuff like that. And we're working with the county to do some other stuff over in the West Warren area also. So really quickly, the benefits to the city are that it's not going to cost anything. So these costs would be federal funds. What Keystone would do is we would provide an element of that infrastructure at, once again, no cost. And that makes it real easy for city council to say, okay, because we need options of internet, we need faster internet. Fiber allows anywhere between 10 and 20 gigs of bandwidth, which seems to be growing quickly. Demand for bandwidth and reliable bandwidth is always critical, and it is proven to be best known for going over fiber. So with that, it's pretty easy. I put a little map together. You've all seen that one before. But really what it does is it takes basically everything you guys have planned, and we would start with the highest density areas where we bring in a node or a pop into the C1 area, which is your commercial, come down some of the easements into the higher populated areas as kind of a phase one, then have several phases to reach some of the other areas in the city limits. Like I said, this area down here, South Weaver and some of the other areas, they've already had some grants given to them, so they're bordering, and so we want to provide that opportunity to Uintah as well. So my business partner Shane, he can give you more details if you have questions, things like that. And from here, there's just one thing that we ask, and that is it starts from the bottom up, from the city, municipalities, things like that, to start letters of recommendation saying that we would like to receive this gift, if you will, from the federal government to install install fiber lines in the city community. And so then the other thing is that we work on discussions of right-of-ways and things like that at later dates and stuff like that. So pretty simple. And any questions for me?
What does end user cost look like, monthly cost?
I put it down here. So we run a nice tight budget. So we would start at anywhere from $50 to $55 a month. So this is listed at 60, but we can do it because we've been in the business a long time. We know what those costs are. And so it becomes really reasonable, where there's, like Utopia, they'll charge right out the door $70. And that's for their 1 gig plan. And then up to $250 for 10 gigs. So we're a lot less than that, and it makes it a little more affordable and easier to switch and have some better reliability to it.
Was that the same for residential and commercial customers, or was commercial?
Commercial's a little bit more. The reason commercial's a little bit more is because they're a little more involved with, first of all, usage, things like that. So I would imagine it would be much more than $80. But when you go in, it's always one of those points of negotiation because there are other competitors in the area. Comcast is one, and they're usually the easiest one to beat because they're typically really expensive. I was talking to a client today that they're charging them $360 for a 100 meg circuit. So this is some good competition that would be brought in, lowering those prices and make it a little more economical for businesses, residentials. So,
how dependable is it, like a natural disaster, like power outage or anything like that?
So fiber is actually very reliable. There's no electronics involved as it travels over the light waves because it's light. So it makes it a lot easier to do backups. We have battery backups to backup routers and switches and nodes like that. And you can go, there's light modules that will travel up to 10 kilometers without having to have anything in between them. So the only problem you have is at the residential place where if there's no generator, no battery backup, then that would go. But other than that, it's a fairly simple thing to keep running, especially during things like that. In natural disasters, what they do is they put in ground loops and things like that to where cables can move and stretch a little bit. If it's a severe earthquake, well, there's gonna be a lot more problems than someone losing the internet.
Yeah.
So,
What's the lifespan of fiber?
lifespan of the fiber is nowadays anywhere between 50 and 100 years, sometimes more. We're using 50-year-old fiber at one of our plants right now that was installed in the early 80s. Still looks fine, no degradation, no what they call fading, where the light, as you're looking down, it starts to fade out. So yeah, it'll last a long, long time. So.
How do you guys connect your backbone to the internet?
So down 89, there are fiber nodes through there. We would connect with one of the interchanges that come through there. It's what was Lumen or CenturyLink, one of them, to come in. We have our own bandwidth. So basically, it's a transport, if you will. They transport our bandwidth across their pipe, and then we break off, feed the city through a different system. Okay. Any other questions?
Did you have a number of, like, what would need to commit from the city? A certain amount of households that have to sign up before?
Well, that's always the risk, but to make it viable, really, it's about 30%. What we would do is we'd go pre-sell. In a smaller community, it's easy to do that kind of stuff. We'd say, look, if you're interested, there'll be a limited cost to sign up. We would subsidize that, hopefully most of it, just because we know how the operation works. Fiber deployment through a city like Uintah is actually a lot easier than it would be in a let's say like Ogden downtown, because there's a lot less concrete, there's a lot less curb and gutter, a lot less asphalt. And so instead of doing lateral boring, which is really, really expensive, we would do surface groundwork where we do micro trenching, where it's a trench about that way. You trench through it and drop what they call interduct in there. And then the interduct is later filled with the fiber optic cable. So that infrastructure will be there for other things too. So primarily for the fiber.
What I imagine you might already know this, but I just wanted to bring it up. So on 6600, our main thoroughway, one side's railroad. Yep. One side's ditch company. Yep. And so have you thought through the logistics of that?
Yes, there are some logistics to think through and work through. Easements primarily to see what the railroad would work. But it always makes it a lot easier if there's municipalities, cities that can help with that process. Say we're trying to get fiber in, it's a federally funded thing, we'd like to have an easement through there, and the grant or the easement process goes a lot easier. But yes, there are things like that to work through. Yeah, lots of fun stuff.
Yeah, the railroad's always so
yeah,
a bit of a.
I heard they're great.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that, I mean, kind of along those same lines, we have homes in between two sets of railroads. Like, how do you plan to?
So on that stuff right there, literally you do what they call lateral boring, where you go under their tracks, whatever the requirement would be. Typically it's like 10 to 15 feet. So we dig down, we bore up, and then come back up the other side so not to disturb any of their infrastructure. Okay. Yeah, they do that a lot. Municipalities do that for transporting water, sewer, things like that. That's also a lot more difficult because fiber is a lot easier to do lateral boring. We can do a hole that big and get all the stuff done instead of opening a trench or having to let it out. We never have to come from the surface. It's all just from groundwork, which is 20, 30 feet away or 40 feet away from any easement, then go up through the easement, then come up from the other side. So it does make it a lot easier to do it that way. So.
One other question I had is just on here, the third bullet down where you say less than $60 a month for low income.
Yeah.
Is there an income?
No.
A cap type situation?
So what that is the federal government requires that's kind of the minimum that we would have to charge. We're actually less than that because they base it on national averages. National averages are $75 to $80 for typical home hookup. So that number right there, 60, is the lowest the government, that's the highest amount that we could charge for low income. So it really wouldn't apply here because we'd be less than that anyways.
Okay.
So.
Is there any installation fee or anything like that?
That's kind of to be determined on some of it. Or for the most part, there may be a small installation fee. When Utopia and when they went through like Layton area, they were charging $2,000 to $3,000 for installation. And the economics there just don't work out for people because they came up with these elaborate plans to say, well, you can just tie that to your mortgage or do this. If laying fiber is actually really inexpensive, they just make it sound like it is very expensive. They charge for it so they can make a lot of this money. There will be some expense to it. It's just not going to be close to that. These numbers that I put in here where it says it could cost $3,000 to $6,000 to hook up one resident, we're confident that we can do it for a fraction of that. So if there was a cost to do that, we'll go through and figure that out. But what makes it easier is the fact that we don't have to do a lot of lateral boring. So we can do surface work where we come in with a micro trench, we go right up to the residence, then from there we go to sidewalks, things like that to get an interduct to the premise, if you will. And that makes it a lot easier. So yeah, so it actually in the city where curb and gutter is not installed in a lot of places, it makes it a lot easier to do this kind of work.
On the interduct, the conduit, do you turn that over to the city? Can we use that in the future to pull other things that we might need?
Yeah, that's a good question. I would imagine that yes, if it was non-interfering cables and things like that, for sure. Yep, obviously the replacement of cables and things like that will be essential in the use coming up. There may be a new technology coming up. It is, if we put in multiples, then absolutely. And sometimes it's cheaper to do it that way, where instead of putting just one interduct, there's one interduct that has 3 tubes inside it. And they do that too.
Okay.
So those are all things that we could discuss and figure out if there's something that yeah, we could easily be done that way. And like I said, there's all sorts of things that happen later on where if a company decides that it's no longer feasible or profitable, which there have been a couple, AT&T and Verizon, they pulled out of, and Comcast, they pulled out of Nephi. I owned a little place down there for years. And when CenturyCom came in there and put fiber in, they basically said, we kind of give up and we're going to just turn over everything else to you guys. And they did. So it's things like that over time that, things change and they can be relinquished or given back to the city or something like that. That's all just part of the points of negotiation.
Okay.
Since this is my forte, this might be a stupid question, but I would imagine that this is how it works. So in my head, so I just need you to correct me if it's So I imagine if it's like, okay, the city says, okay, sure. And then you come in and you lay all the stuff. Like, none of the residents actually have to go with this, right? Like if they all chose to stay with Comcast or whatever. Yep. I mean, it's completely optional. There isn't any cost to the residents unless they want it.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah, so what we would do as a company, we'd come in and pre-sell. We'd come in and say, do we have a verbal that you would come and work with us, or that we would be one of our customers? That's one of the big things. And to make a project like this viable, it's usually about 30% is the take, but I believe we can do more. It just comes down to word of mouth, how well customer service is, if you have great support, things like that. Then it just naturally spreads out all over the place. So I believe our take would be higher and closer to 60%, and maybe 80% once everything comes into full operation. So those are all the hopes and dreams, right?
Yeah.
But what's great about it is there's no obligation to the city. It's just that the federal funds to the state of Utah are already there. We just need to go out and kind of grab them now and find a partner to work with, and that would be us.
And so on that note, with you mentioned customer service, what does your customer service staff look like? How do if our residents went with you or signed up with service, how do they get customer service?
They just call our number and we answer. It's pretty simple. It comes down to if we're not a gigantic organization when it comes to national stuff. We're local, and we have a good support team. And city, we pull up a whole bunch of references that that when people call, we answer the phone. And it doesn't matter what it is, we're 24/7 operation. So someone will answer, and if no one answers, then it goes to me and I answer, which happens every once in a while. So.
And is there any municipalities close that we could talk to that have worked with you guys in the past?
We're working with Weaver right now. That's a startup too. So, but I think letters of recommendation, we probably start with some of the big companies we work with. We work with a whole bunch of management companies, internet companies like EMG that do property management, things like that, that we've worked with for the last almost 14 years. So we could definitely do something like that. As far as a municipality like this, we've worked on some city levels, but not on a fiber project yet. So,
All right.
okay.
Thank you for your time.
You bet, thank you. Appreciate it very
Great
much.
questions, we appreciate you coming. All right.
Still more comments?
Yeah, I was gonna say, well, let's circle back to the comments. I'm not saying that Scott didn't make a very good window or anything that I couldn't see, but I don't see anything here now. So we're gonna, so I'll close down the public comments. Bear with me, first time. Let's see. I'm not really sure how it looks like it. Just leave it open. All right, but just be aware, we're not checking the comments anymore. We closed public comments. All right, next on our agenda is the presentation on Weber County Sheriff's Office. I asked Lieutenant Slater to come to a presentation, just kind of a general overview of all the benefits that the city receives with being a contract city for the Sheriff's Department, what they offer, some of their hopes and dreams and challenges for while they're providing services for us, for council members that are new, and maybe some as a refresher. So, thank you for coming.
Hey, you bet. So I kind of spun off just what I provide a monthly report. So what you'll find is there's just a pack of information in front of you that kind of outlines, I haven't presented since October, just with schedules and different agenda items. So just be aware the first couple pages are a comparison of November, December, January. Kind of give a snapshot of calls for service versus the self-initiated things that are occurring, and then overall numbers. And then you'll have some 2025 totals. And I don't know what you guys want to know from those, but realistically, statistics are, in my opinion, are a chapter of the storybook, if you will, right? They don't tell everything. What I see when I look at these is that Uintah is generally a very safe place to live. There's not a lot of crime that's occurring down here. There are some trends that we're seeing overall. Either things aren't getting reported, not just to us, but from a statewide or countywide level. Things aren't just getting reported. So in general, crime is going down. But in your 5-year comparisons, I mean, you can see the numbers of non-criminal events. If you go, the page numbers aren't on there. It's the section right after. So in 2021, there were 398 non-criminal. In 2025, there was 251. So I'm not a mathematician, I'm a cop, so I don't have the percentages on those for you. But overall, Uintah is generally, I would say, a very safe place to live. Not a lot of crime occurs down here. It really, as far as what you guys get as a contract city, many of you have been to our contract meetings that we have with our city partners. The shared service model goes a long way. When there is a big incident, you have the hands of many. That's really probably the best way to put it for those that are new on the council. Kind of going over the last few pages of the updates. The Sheriff's Office, let me back up. County Commission did a wage and compensation study. During that, they found that we need to make some changes to be competitive just to our local competitors, right? Not anything in the Salt Lake Valley. So in 2026, there is a new budget with a new pay scale. That new pay scale is in here. We're able to do a lot of things, but when you're not paying competitively, it really every facet of the county, I think, struggles. County Attorney's Office is in 24, was struggling a little bit, so in 25 they got a bump, help them retain employees. So you'll see the new pay scale. We're closer to fully staffed now than we were a year ago. At one point, we were down 19 people. We've currently got 9 in field training. 3 just recently graduated, and so we're down to like 3 or 4 vacancies right now. Now, in that is the police academy. So we have some that we've hired off the street that have never been cops before, putting them through the police academy to get them trained up. That's a 16 to 18 week process and a 4-month field training. So really, you hire somebody in December, they're not good for you until August, right? So, anyway, that's been some of the things that we've been doing. Currently in public order unit is we're all being trained to respond to those incidents.
Tell me what public order unit is.
So it's not a riot squad, but to provide the training if and when those style events occur. Basically, protests that go rogue, a need for that public safety element. So it provides training how to respond to those. So team formats, shields, helmets, gas masks, things of those natures.
But our SWAT team's not big enough if there was a big
No, so
riot.
it's going to be different than, and really it just is to control a crowd. Crowd control on steroids, if you will,
Okay.
with the protective equipment. So there's various levels. I mean, you can make it to where there's fireproof clothing that they wear. I mean, the costs go from a little bit to huge, right? And so with that fireproof suit, I believe they're $7,000 for one uniform, right? So like the costs get,
Exponential.
yes. So really what we're focused on is just being able for civil obedience to ensure that we don't have damage to or harm to people or property damage. So if and when those events were to occur, we can respond appropriately. The SWAT team has a different role in those events. And that's various of really just a situational. So, yeah.
Thank you.
But at the end of the day, what you guys are seeing on TV, that's not, I mean, that are happening across the nation. If that was to happen here locally, we, along with the other agencies, would partner together to respond to those. Some things with school security, that is my full-time assignment for those that don't know. Currently, we're going through the site visits with all schools in the county. So overall, great work by the educators. The Weaver School District is ahead of the state mandates, so I put that in there. There was a lot of things the Weaver School District was doing prior to the legislation that was enacted in 24. So they're doing a lot of good things there already, but there is a significant undertaking to get where the state wants them to be. So it's going to be a multi-year project to get all the things and stuff done.
And so just Weaver County Sheriff is involved in all the schools in Weaver County, not like, for instance, South Ogden schools would also have South Ogden PD, right?
Correct. So it's called the Division of State School Security, right? And so every sheriff, the legislature mandated every sheriff have a county security chief. I currently fill that role. Now, the sheriff's office has a contract with the school district to provide school resource officers, which all of our municipalities, they have the opportunity to provide that SRO. So South Ogden Junior High has a South Ogden police officer at that school. We're not responsible for it. However, under House Bill 84 in 2024 required every sheriff to have a county security chief. So there's 29 of us in the state. There's also the Division of State Security, which Chief Matt Pennington is over state security. the state's divided up into regions, and basically it's to ensure there was a lot of infrastructure requirements, door locks, panic alert devices, vestibules, glazing on the windows, right, to fortify our schools from not being soft targets. And so that is a combination of myself and the division of the state security guy. We're conducting site assessments. There were needs assessments done last year to figure out what costs were provided, what the school districts needed to provide, and where they needed to focus their emphasis initially. So there's really two divisions. The guardian program is one of the components to train educators. And I use the word educators as it can't, by statute, can't be a principal or a teacher. So it has to be somebody else inside the school to help respond to those threats. So that is placed upon the sheriff through his designee as the county security chief to manage that program. So there are 82 school buildings in the county between the two school districts and all the charters. So it is a heavy lift. But as far as the contract cities go, that is a general fund position. So that's everybody in the county pays for that essentially, right? So does that answer your question?
Yep.
Yep.
Thank you.
Good. The traffic unit's doing well, as naturally as they're more of our senior guys that are in that unit, so they've been pulled to train the new guys. So you'll see their numbers have kind of ebbed and flowed the last few months, and that's just been the need. We've had the need as an office to get them into a training position rather than working on their own. So that's one of the things. Investigations is doing well. I left that off my PowerPoint or off my presentation, or off the slide, if you will. But yeah, really it just comes back to staffing. There's a plethora of services, detectives that all have specialty trainings built within inside as far as child abuse investigators, financial crimes, major crimes. So that's kind of where it's divided up into the specialties. And they're working hard to maintain their caseload and getting successful prosecutions. So that's one avenue. It's been quite a while as I did my homework on this, that UNS had really, the last major incident you guys had was the shooting with the Airbnb scenario, right? And so the amount of resources that were down here were tremendous, I guess. They were very large, but that's really the last big incident I could find in the city of Uintah. The most recent, I guess. So I don't know, does that answer your question?
It does, and I just kind of want you to take a second like you did and explain all the different sources, and I think you hit the nail on the head. We're generally a very safe place to live, but when we do have our incidents, because we're not immune to them, we get the full impact of the sheriff's department when we need them.
Correct.
We appreciate that.
So you guys have any questions? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. We're gonna be back up here in just one second, but I think you probably already addressed most of your things.
Yeah, I kind of combined them. So.
Okay.
Unless
If you
there's
have any
questions.
forget I'll come back to you. So, okay, takes us down to item 6, the informational items. I see we don't have anything for the planning commission. Ross isn't here. I guess my question would be if we're gonna have the new chair continue to brief us. Do we know? Anybody know on that one? I think it'd be great. I thought it was helpful to have the chair here. People agree? Okay, so let's check on that and make sure our new chair is aware that we do these informational items.
Last time, or is it this time?
Last time.
Well, he was already on the,
Yeah, he just moved up into chair. He was an
so he
alternative.
didn't have to be sworn in.
And did we get a vice chair? Can I ask this?
I think there was a
Last
little,
turn?
I think there was a little, they were positive, and I think they're working on that.
Okay.
I think I know, but I'm not, I don't want to speak, but. Okay, next would be our public works report. Jack?
Good evening, everyone. Jack Bird, Public Works. I want to start like I always do. Grateful to be here. Love working here. My family's happy. So I'm really grateful to be here. Some of the stuff Public Works has been up to, we've had a couple of the hydraulic rams off the mini. They were leaking. We got them back and fixed. So the mini excavator is back in business and hooked to the cemetery. They're saying it's gonna snow. We're ready. Bring it on.
Your whole task
So,
force.
sanders are in, plows are working, we're ready to go for the snow. I've been doing a lot of cross connection assessments at some of the businesses. I've done 7 or 8 of them, so it's ongoing and going well. We're trying to document everything, keep everything like we're supposed to do. I'm doing a lot of continuing education this month. I've been going to Weaver Basin Water every Thursday and taking a 2.5-hour class. And then I'm going to St. George next week for a rural water conference. And I'll be taking, there's 2 days of classes that I'll be taking for continuing education. So that's just kind of the time of year it is. I've got some project lists out to some of you. I'm waiting for prices on others, and some of the lists I have for you, I'm still waiting for prices and other things on, but I'm gonna keep working on that and try to get it ready for summer season and decide what we're gonna try to get done this year. Any questions for me?
Everything's situated with on-call?
Yes.
Yes.
That's all good?
Yep.
No, I don't have any questions. Thank you. Thanks for all the continuing education that you're doing in the water department. It's a big lift in that area. I don't think people realize all that goes into making sure that water comes out of their tap clean. And we appreciate all the work you're doing to make sure that happens for the city.
Okay, you're welcome. I'm available. Any questions?
Okay, thanks for getting the signs done so quickly. We're working on getting them painted. I'll let you know. So,
Okay.
but I appreciate, I mean, like I asked him, I get it done.
Just happens. You're a miracle worker.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you guys.
Thanks, Jack.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, Lieutenant, any scratches? Okay, thanks. All right, so next is the council reports. I didn't give a whole lot of pre-warning to the other council members, but I do kind of want to do this a little bit differently from here on out. I think it'd be great now that we have this record online for people that want to come back and see what's going on in the city as kind of just an overview of what's going on in each department. If there are something you're working on, something upcoming, maybe any needs that you have from citizens or something, you could put it out there and they can watch it as well. So I think I'll just start, might try it out a few different ways as we get going, but I think I'll just start down here with Daniel, and I'll just so everyone knows, he's over city equipment, city buildings, parks, and cemetery.
As far as city buildings, this month we had the carpets cleaned in the Scout House and also the city offices. We put our grant in for the city park remodel. I did hear back that we have a representative from the county. Been in contact with that, but it's still a process. But as of right now, that's all I got.
No award amounts, yes or no, nothing like that, too soon. All right.
We just got our representative.
Just a representative, okay. Well, we will hold to hear from that. So that'll be good news if we get that. All right, anything else?
That's it.
All right, T, your mosquito abatement, stormwater, bottomless CTC, garbage and recycling, and animal control.
Yeah, still learning on a lot of them. Mosquito abatement, sharing that with Mayor Keller or former Mayor Keller. And so I got some information concerning that today before the meeting. Stormwater, talked with Tim a little bit about that. Nothing pending or active scheduled. Bonneville Communities that Care have an upcoming meeting that I'm looking forward to attending. Same with garbage and recycling, meeting on the books to familiarize and get to know the ins and outs of that a little bit more. And then nothing on animal control yet. So
Great. Well, thank you. There's a lot of, your plate will be wet and learning these things. And I think as you start meeting everybody, you'll be able to, make a good improvement in those areas. So, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Michelle, Pathways Railroad Community Events.
Yep, so Pathways, I haven't heard from them in quite a while, and so my emails that I had previously, we spoke about that, so I've sent out emails, I haven't heard back from them yet. It seems like they're not Pathways anymore, it's the Trails Foundation, and so I'm just trying to figure out where we lie with that, so stay tuned.
Okay.
Railroad, I don't have anything, and then community events. Our next one will be Easter. We're making new signs. We're in the process of doing that for the age groups. And we will be sending out letters this month for donations. So if anyone would like to help donate, we take whatever you're willing to donate. So money, of course, toys, whatever you like. And then
How do they donate?
they would bring it here to the city office. So we've had people in the past that have, brought toys or different things that they wanted to have passed out at the Easter egg hunt. So you can just bring anything into the city office. And then, of course, cash or however you want to pay would have to go through the city office so that that's all dispersed properly. And then as for U Days, we do have the chairs. We'll be co-chairing. Will be Jill Smith and Liz Minster with myself, and then Stephanie Grigla and her husband, is it Mike?
Yes.
We'll be doing the dinner as well this year. So we haven't started our meetings yet, but we'll be starting that here fairly soon. And then again, donations for U Days, we're always accepting those as well here at the city office.
Great, thank you. I'm still over the culinary water. I think Jack did a great job updating in that. They do have the upcoming conference. Our utility clerk will also be going down with them and just getting some great information for us. Fire department, they are working on building a new training facility, which they feel will be very beneficial to their department. Look for that to start being constructed here soon. And they do have a new truck that is being built, but they take 3 years to make. There's quite a lead time on them. And if anything that I've learned, and I know Gordon has said this in the past, is that it is very expensive for anytime you have to replace any of this equipment, and millions of dollars. And as our cities we've known in the past, it's a pretty big financial burden for us to try to recoup that kind of pay for that kind of equipment, I should say. So, and you just get a bigger bang for your buck, doing what we're doing with some of these sheriff's department and the fire department. So we appreciate the extra stuff we get when we all band together as cities and go into these things. Let's see, grants, website, newsletter. City staff has floated the idea of going paperless with the newsletter in the future. I don't know how other council members feel about that, if we're ready for that, if we're not ready for something like that. It's not really a discussion we need, but just maybe think about that, how you feel about doing paperless in the city in the future. And social media, nothing too interesting there. So, any questions from everybody? Open discussion, nothing? Okay, then that will do it. Just need to accept a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
I'll second it.
Motion by Dan, second by Michelle. Thanks. Any discussion? None. Okay, thank you. We are in adjournment.
All in favor?
Now, all in favor?
All in favor.
Aye. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Wasn't too bad, didn't it?
Oh,